I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down. He should calm down.
So he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack. Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he wants. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the bronze bomber!
Water! Let's go, baby! Let's go! I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You got shit. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man. Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG. I am so excited.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another semi-daily edition of the show now, Gary. We can kind of say that, right? I did a show yesterday. That was an MMA show. I did a show now today. Look at us. I know Rob's hating, saying that we're 4 minutes late, but it's 2 shows in 2 days, Rob. I mean, hating ass Rob. What are you doing? Laying in bed doing nothing? Loser.
It's only midnight where you are. Get out of bed. Come on. We burn the midnight oil around here.
No, that's only you and Foo, to be honest. It's not me and Rob. If I was in Rob's time zone, I would be asleep before him.
Matt, you kind of are on the same schedule as my parents. You're in bed by 8 and up at 5 in the morning. I get texts from you. I'm like, I'm not even awake yet. I wake up to Matt's text and he's 2 hours behind me.
Yeah, I apologize. But guys, we have a lot to get to on today's show. I'm Matt the Hipster Hunter. We're going to be talking about Canelo Alvarez and Ryan Garcia beefing with the Golden Boy. We're going to talk about Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell in negotiations. Katie Taylor, Defon Persoon 2 being announced. I need air horns for that. That is a fantastic fucking fight. Obviously, we had 2 fight cards this week that we're going to somewhat break down and preview, though I did not watch last night's card. And honestly, there was another card today. I don't know if it was on ESPN Plus. I would assume it was, but I didn't check. It was a Frank Warren card in the UK. I didn't see it. I know that did happen today as well. I know a lot of people on boxing Twitter were talking about. Have not seen that. Didn't see the Carlos Takam Jerry Forrest fight last night because I had a MMA show. But I did watch, obviously, the card on Tuesday, which we'll get to later on, which I know maybe we're actually, Gary, I'm going to shoot you a lot of bail on that show, or that part of the show. I'll be honest. You're going to be very surprised on my takes on that main event. I'll be honest.
It was a nice little scrap. It was a decent scrap. Yeah. The co-main was a fun fight too. I told you that guy, Luis Alberto Lopez, that guy is no joke. They keep putting him in the ring. Okay, here's a tough opponent. No, he's more than a tough opponent. He can beat people. And he keeps showing that. Yesterday's card. Yes, that was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday's card. There's a calm card. Boy, that was a snoozer. That was
that bad? Even the double knockdown, that wasn't good enough. That
wasn't. I mean, that wasn't aired though. That was a fight that they had before the card started, and then they just showed it to you because it was so cool. But the kid Carlos Castro, he was okay. I mean, he's not going to be a world champion or anything, but he had some skills. He could be a top 15 to 20 guy.
Yeah, kind of like Tanahara.
Nothing like Tanahara. It's like comparing Mario Elliott to Michael Jordan.
It's gonna be one of those shows. I can't wait. Cannot wait. We're gonna get to those cards later on the show. Let's get to the big topics first. Gary, did you do I told you to do and screen share, or did you not listen to me at all?
I don't even know what it's not that I didn't listen to you. I don't even know what you're talking about.
So you didn't open up those articles like I told you to?
I had looked at the text.
You didn't look? Oh my God, Gary! We should have had this discussion before the air. Don't worry. You know what, Gary? You apologize to our listeners that they don't get to see the articles with us.
Okay. I'm sorry that you guys don't get to look at the articles with us.
Thank you.
I fell asleep at the wheel here.
Usually it's Rob's fault. I blame you.
It's like my dad would say to me, "You are out to lunch, kid. Out to lunch."
What kind of... Yo.
Mentally, you're not here. Like
I would say this: people from a certain generation that are older than us, obviously, have the weirdest fucking sayings in the world. I will say that sayings that we don't say for obvious reasons because they're weird. Moving on, let's get to the Canelo Alvarez discussion. It's not really beef yet because it's just starting again, but this is going to turn into beef. There's no way this news does not become significant friction between Canelo Alvarez and Golden Boy Promotions, with Eric Gomez, obviously the president of Golden Boy Promotions, coming out to Sky Sports, and we're getting this quote via ESPN ringside on their Twitter account, saying we're not living in a world that we lived in last year. Canelo would be taking a significant pay cut. Anybody willing to come to the table and be reasonable, he will fight. And obviously, we're going to talk about the Ryan Garcia friction that's been very out and open with Golden Boy Promotions and Oscar. But this is something that I did not expect. When we heard about Eddie Hearn and other promoters asking for pay cuts to certain fights and fighters, it was not surprising. It is very surprising to see them come out and publicly admit they asked Canelo Alvarez for a significant pay cut. Gary, thoughts?
Yeah, they asked, just like John Ryder said, I'm available. Right? Okay. We'll let you know. Canelo, they asked him to take a significant pay cut. They checked it off the list. We asked, right? Like, I used to ask for like a 100% raise, like double my salary every year at my year review, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get it, but I asked.
Yeah.
I asked him. I mean, if they actually asked him, I have no idea, but they're going to say that we asked Canelo to take a significant pay cut. That means whoever he fights has to take one too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't, I mean, if they did, they knew they weren't going to get it, right? Like, well, let's be real.
Well, I mean, I don't think this is a, like, past tense situation here, to be quite honest.
Okay, the Canelo's not fighting until this is all passed, and Golden Boy go out of business because they're going to lose Ryan Garcia.
I mean, I didn't want to get like right into that idea angle of it, but like, let's be honest here. If you're Canelo Alvarez, there's no way you accept a significant or any pay cut. You're already in the position where you're not speaking to anyone from Golden Boy at all. You're speaking through your lawyer. Okay, Athletic, Mike Oppinger is still reporting that is just the factual relationship between Canelo and his promotional company. So why would Canelo be okay with the pay cut? There's no way that's going to happen. I can understand Eric Gomez trying to do this, but there's no way on God's green earth that Canelo Alvarez says, yeah, I'm cool, when he's already in a 2-year-long spat with Oscar and Eric Gomez over pay. And then you're going to ask him to take less. It just, and again, it's one thing for this to happen. It's another to come out publicly and ask or say that this is happening. I'm shocked that Eric Gomez is out there willingly saying this to Sky Sports, that, yeah, we asked Canelo Alvarez for a significant pay cut. It's not like we've heard this from sources, from Canelo's team. No. Eric Gomez said, yeah, we asked the biggest star in the sport to take less money.
Let me make a comparison. It would be like if you were coming home 3 hours late, you missed dinner, and your wife said she made this. You're like, can you make me enchiladas instead? Those are really good. Like, no. Like, I can't believe you even asked that. Obviously, no. Like,
that's such a weird comparison.
But like, you're like asking for a ridiculous request when the person's fuming mad at you. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I think a better comparison would be maybe another sports comparison, maybe a baseball comparison. Like, imagine if the Angels came to Mike Trout and said, hey, take less money, bud.
Now, yeah, right.
Would he say yes? No.
I mean,
if the Lakers came to LeBron James and said, "Hey, take less money, significantly less money," you think LeBron James is going to be playing in the bubble right now?
No, it's like Tom Brady, Tim Duncan, and Dirk took less, but that was at contract time. They said, "Okay, look, I want to win another championship, so here I'll take a little less so that you can pay other people." But that was negotiated before the contract was signed. Yeah,
very different thing. It's not in the middle of a contract because of an act of God, so to speak, outside of the sport. and you come into your biggest star and your biggest commodity, not only within your company, but within the entire
sport, right?
And you're saying, hey, take significantly less money for us, please.
Right. It would be different, like if they were on good terms and they agreed, like, okay, I get the state of things. I'll take a little less. Let's try to make it up to me in some other way, right? Like, then not speaking. Guys basically hate each other and then say, hey, will you take significantly less money? No, I'm not going to do that. Actually, hazard pay, I want more. I could get a lung disease and never fight again. This could be my last fight. So if you want me to fight during this global crisis, you're actually going to pay me more. How's that? How about that?
And as far as I'm quite aware, these promotional companies still get their allotted contracted pay from the networks. Like, it's not like their budgets evaporated. They still have the same amount.
I was going to ask about that. I mean, I guess, right? Like, they're still getting their money because they're, yeah.
Yes, we know now with the Ryan Garcia situation, which we're going to get to in a second, that it's structured in a certain way that their pot is, in terms of the budget, is just a flat pot. Then their number of cards is the X factor. So let's say they run 2 cards a year and they have, let's say, $50 million in their budget. They can spend $25 million on each card if that's what they want to do. Or they can do the max 10 events per year for the contract. So Golden Boy has the money. Like, that is not an issue at all. There is no reason for Canelo to take less money because the network is not giving his promotional company less money. The budget doesn't have less money in it. There may have been a huge loss in revenue, obviously, in terms of just not generating it in the months of March through now and whenever we bring it cards again with Canelo. But the second if you're Canelo in these negotiations, the second I'm now fighting, you're getting all this revenue back. So your argument of, oh, we lost revenue doesn't even work because I'm the one generating your revenue again. Without me, you don't have it. So no, I'm not taking a pay cut at all. I'm the one creating all the labor. I'm the one creating the event. You need me more than I need you. Canelo's out there golfing with Steph Curry right now.
It's the best guy in the sport in the absolute prime of his career, right? I remember when Derek Jeter signing his last contract with the Yankees, and I think it was Steinbrenner's kid was already running the Yankees, and he was like, he'll take a pay cut. Derek Jeter's like, no, I won't. Like, this is my last contract. I'm not taking a pay cut. Right? You're asking a guy who has a very short earning potential, right? Compared to like the rest of us, like his career to earn is very short. At the absolute height of your career, take a pay cut.
Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Post Achilles rupture and that surgery, did he want to take a pay cut to restructure the Laker team and try to get a bunch of young guys? No. He was like, I want my max contract.
This is it. Like, after this, what am I going to do? I'm going to earn $30 million a year. You know?
I am Kobe Bryant. I'm going to make sure I get every cent I can. I think Canelo is of the same ilk in terms of like that apex athlete. So, of course, he's going to not take a pay cut. I just cannot believe that like this is even happening. And I cannot wait for the response from Canelo, Gary. Like, I know we haven't heard his response yet, but tell me, like, that is not what you are anticipating the most right now.
I'm thinking, like, it's not, like, it's just a no, right? Like, it's just no. Mm-mm.
I'm assuming there's at least one snarky, like in terms of, like, a Twitter account, like, in terms of tweets. Like, there's going to be some snarkiness of subtweeting or something. I see it happening.
You're right, because he's kind of, like, Canelo, for as famous and as rich and powerful, and he is a little petty. Like, he does like to get a little petty.
He is.
If it were me, I would just say no. Like, not even a counter, just no.
Maybe Rob knows this, because, you know, Rob's Sherlock Holmes of the group. Has Canelo been, like, retweeting and sharing any of the Ryan Garcia articles at all? Do you know that? I haven't seen him do it. It doesn't mean he hasn't. I'm curious though if that has been happening, like he did obviously a year ago or 6 months ago, whenever it was. But speaking of Ryan Garcia in that situation, let's talk about it right now because it's all in some way connected, in my opinion, not directly connected, but these are two fighters that are the biggest stars within this promotional company, that are in the same camp, that are seemingly a mentor-apprentice like relationship now. And they both are beefing with the promoter over pay. For it not to be somewhat connected or indirectly connected, I think is just ignorant at this point to assume, or to not to assume. So, Gary, did you read this article from The Athletic by chance? Looks like Gary froze up.
Am I back?
No, you're not. Refresh your page. Oh, no, you're back. You're back. No, you're good.
All right.
Gary?
The Athletic article. No, I couldn't open it.
What do you mean?
I couldn't open it. I mean, it opened, but I could only read the headline.
Oh, like you don't have a membership to it? You don't have
No. Is it free or do I have to pay for it?
Well, I pay for it. I'll give you the info later. Don't worry, Gary. I didn't know you couldn't be reading these Athletic articles the whole time.
I can read the headline and then I can Google search it and then you can get a little more. Like someone else, you could piece it together, but I didn't look at it because I didn't know we were doing a show today. So I didn't. I'm kind of unprepared, but I give you perfectly executed boxing analysis, and that's what I'm going to do today.
You did watch the card last night.
I did.
So
you missed nothing. You missed nothing.
Expert box analysis. You missed nothing. There we go. There's how many fights? Like 5 fights last night. You missed nothing. Don't worry about it,
Matt. Bro,
trust me. I'm not going to go back and watch it. You know me. There's a big UFC card tomorrow. I'm not watching.
I'm kind of like the apologist for these top ranked cards. Everyone's like, and they're not good, but still, like there's been some decent fight. Yesterday was atrocious, like just so bad. That guy Forrest was supposed to be a good heavyweight. Like he's supposed to like be a revisit. That guy was awful, by the way.
Quickly, that boxing scene article that is also in the topics chat, by the way, Gary. That's like a rip off of the Athletic article. So if you want to open that up, you can probably read some of the quotes really fast while I give some of my takes on the article, and you can sort of quickly prep yourself there, Gary. Most of it is a lot of quotes from Ryan Garcia being upset with Golden Boy. And I'm not going to read all of them because I think even if you haven't read any of these quotes, you can just picture Ryan Garcia as a very young 20-year-old and the way he talks and the way he articulates himself and just be frustrated and him talk about Golden Boy and just do that for 30 minutes. And that's what it seems most of this article is. There are a couple interesting things about it, I will say. Let me see if I can get to really fast. The minimum contract part of it, I think, is interesting to note. Also, the fact that he is comparing himself to Shakur Stevenson in terms of pay. Shakur Stevenson got $700,000 total, $400,000 disclosed purse in his last fight. What was that, 2 or 3 weeks ago? But I think the minimum purses for Ryan Garcia was $250,000 to $350,000. I'm trying to find it really fast. Sorry about that. It's a long article. And there has been a lot of debate, seemingly in the boxing Twitter sphere community, about are those minimums correct to what Ryan Garcia's earning potential or revenue potential is for Golden Boy Promotions and DAZN. And Gary, just quickly, your thoughts on Ryan Garcia again being very upset, asking to be released or being paid what he's worth. We do know that he is talking to Golden Boy through his manager/lawyer, just like Canelo is. And we do know, we're going to get to in a second, but we do know that he's also in this midst of all this, somehow negotiating with Luke Campbell for a WBC interim title. And they have even told Emmanuel Tagu with the WBO that they're not going that way. So there's a lot going around here for Ryan Garcia. Thoughts on his situation?
Look, I don't think Ryan Garcia is kind of a pretty sharp, mild-mannered kid. I don't think this was just him venting. I don't think this was just him, raging. I think he thought this through, and this is what he wanted. Because what he said is reasonable. If you don't believe in me, if you don't think I'm the goods, then just let me go. Let other people believe in me. I'll sign with them. Like, no hard feelings. Just let me go. And I get that. But I also think Golden Boy is right. I don't think he's ready. Right? Like, he hasn't beaten anybody yet. So I get both sides. Look, Golden Boy should get him a big fight, get him a Linares fight, someone like that. And if he blows that guy out, or Hester, If he blows that guy away, then let's get him in the ring with Devin Haney, or let's get him in the ring with someone like that.
He said specifically he doesn't want those guys. He says, if I knock out Mercedes Gesta or Hector Tanahara in 2 rounds, what does that do for me? Does nothing. I want the big dogs right now. I want to get paid as I should fighting these big guys.
Then really, like if I'm Golden Boy, I would sit with them and say, okay, I will do all that I can for you. You're not ready. If that's what you want, I work for you. I will do it. But a word to the wise, you're not ready. You're going to lose.
I wouldn't say it that way if I'm his promoter. Again, I think that's part of the issue here as well. I mean, I will get to this as well. I want to address this. I want to talk about this. Should Ryan Garcia get paid $250,000 to $350,000 for a Luke Campbell fight?
Easy. Yes.
No. Is the argument, should he get paid more than that or just that? Because that's his bare minimum in the contract. He's saying I should get paid more than my bare minimum for a Luke Campbell, these Devin Haney's, this type of opponent. That's what he's arguing as well. And plus the negative public and private narrative from Oscar and Eric Gomez about him. That is also part of his issue. So I would assume if Oscar came up and said, "Hey, I'll make the Luke Campbell fight for $350, K," and guess what? I think you're going to lose. I guarantee you Ryan's not going to take that well. And he's still going to ask, "Oh, well, I want out of my contract now. Fuck you."
Okay.
Shout out to Gary freezing up. Damn, Gary. Damn. That was a silver bullet in the heart right there. He couldn't take it.
I'm back. I'm back. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I don't know. I don't.
Can you hear me when you go off like that?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
You said it was a silver bullet to the heart. Yeah, I can hear you. Just I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you're a werewolf.
Yeah. But we talk Ryan Garcia.
Yes. If
I got you
if you're Oscar and I'm Ryan and you come to me and said, "Yeah, I'll pay you $350 to fight Luke Campbell," and guess what? You're gonna lose. I'm gonna tell you fuck off. And to put ourselves outside the situation, shouldn't Ryan Garcia say that? Like that's what he should say in that situation. If I'm facing this great opponent that is for a interim title, that is a gold medalist, and I'm just getting my bare minimum for my contract, not the maximum for my per fight deal, then doesn't Ryan Garcia have a leg to stand on in terms of being upset with the promotional company that he's with?
He could be upset, but you're upset because they're telling you the truth. Like, look, I mean, I agree with he ain't ready for those guys. He's beaten nobody. I mean, David Haney hasn't really either. It's not just that aspect, Gary. You keep just singling it to, oh well, yeah, you can be upset, but it's just them stating, being honest. But it's not just about the public perception or the public narrative that Oscar's putting out. And let's be honest, Gary, if Oscar's out there saying that Virgil Ortiz was scared of Earl Spence, you would be up here yelling at Oscar. So I want you to be very fucking objective here when it comes to this topic. Please, Gary, okay? No, I'm saying Ryan's going to be upset because does Ryan think he can beat those guys? Absolutely. Does Ryan believe in his heart of hearts that he can knock out Heston and Tanahara in a round or two? I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does, right? But, like, he can't, right? I'm being objective. Like, he's going to be mad.
Damn, Gary, you got to refresh your page.
If I was Golden,
Gary, just
refresh it? Okay.
Yeah, refresh your page. Just refresh it. Don't worry about it. Rob is saying no one is saying he gets the minimum for the Campbell fight, though. I mean, that's, I think, implicitly what it's saying here. Yes, it's saying just for the Tanahara, Gesta, and Fortuna fights, but I assume the second the negotiation started for Luke Campbell, you don't think Oscar was putting out $250,000 to $350,000 as well? God of War saying, why sign contracts if you're not happy with it? I don't get it. Well, contracts leave a room for negotiation, even like within these contracts. That's why they have minimum and maximum within per fight deals. Gary's back. Gary.
Yeah.
So, for example, God of War, just quickly, I'm just talking in the chat. Let's say his maximum is, I don't know, what could it be, Gary? 500,000.
I was just saying 5 to 7, somewhere in that range.
I was going to say 7 at the top end. If he's going from fighting, let's say Tanahara or Guest or Fortuna in terms of negotiations to then Campbell, I would assume he's asking for a higher purse than just his minimum instead of a Mercito Guest to fight for $250K.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that, let's say if you're a Golden Boy and you're offering lower level competition and you're offering the minimum purses, you have a leg to stand on. If you're Ryan and you're not asking for that competition, you're asking for the top guys, then you should pay him more than the minimum. I feel like that's pretty obvious here. When, depending who you fight, your pay goes up. This has always been an obvious factor in prize fighting.
He deserves a lot. Like, what do you think Haney would get paid from Eddie if he fought Luke Campbell? A lot. Like, I mean, Ryan's a bigger star than Devin Haney. Ryan sold out this. Was it a Honda Center or was it the Staples Center?
Honda Center.
Devin Haney's never sold anything out. And I like Haney. I think Haney's a future star. But at this moment, right now, Ryan Garcia is a bigger star. I don't care who you think is better. That's irrelevant. Right? There's a famous line from Entourage where Vinny Chase goes to Ari, "Do you think I'm a good actor?" And Ari looks at him and goes, "I hired you for one reason. I signed you for one reason. I think you're a star." That's it. I think you're a good actor. He didn't answer that question. I don't care. Right? I think you're a star. Ryan Garcia is a star, and so you pay him like he's a star. He's already proven it. He's already sold out a venue. I mean, he deserves the money that Haney's getting. Now, he agreed to what he agreed to. So if the max that he agreed to is, let's say, 600,000-700,000, then that's the most he's going to get, unless he's in a pay-per-view or something. But like, I don't care how good or how not good you think Ryan Garcia is. He's a draw. He's a ticket seller.
Yeah, he brings money to the table. Walker Smith saying, is Ryan even bringing numbers to his own? I think he absolutely is.
I mean, that's a hard metric to measure, right? You know, unless you're polling people. Yeah.
Purely guessing.
Right.
Like, it's not like an estimation. There's like, where it's just pure guessing here. But Ryan definitely, I would say, brings in. We know that they put out press releases for, 400,000 US viewers and up. They have never put out a press release for anything below that, right? So for Ryan Garcia fights, they've never put out a press release for how many views he's had in the US. For KSI Logan Paul, they never put out any views for how many they had in the US. I'll assume it's below 400,000. So I'm guessing Ryan Garcia is bringing in 200 to 300,000 people per fight on DAZN. We know that he, in terms of ESPN, did, and the average was 550,000 viewers against Jason Velez 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? He should be getting paid a lot. And in regards to him fighting top-level guys, if you're fighting a top-level guy, you should get paid well regardless. Like, the fact that we're having this argument of like how many people does he bring in, like, is ridiculous. He should get paid well regardless if he's fighting a top level guy like a Luke Campbell, who's a top 4 or 5 guy in the division. You know? And Ryan Garcia's potential earning is another factor you have to lay in here if you're a promoter or a network. That if you can somehow keep him long term, and he turns out, as he's only 22 years old, I think, he's going to produce exponentially more revenue for you as the years roll on. That's how it should work out, right? Especially if he starts moving up weight classes to 147. We do know that Shakur Stevenson got paid $400,000 disclosed purse, and it's been reported that he got paid a total of $700,000 plus per sources from Mike Coppinger. So he got an extra $300,000 bonus on top of it that was undisclosed. Do you think Ryan Garcia should get paid $700,000 to fight Luke Campbell?
I think that's completely reasonable. Totally reasonable. I mean, it might be a little on the high end, but somewhere between $5 and $750,000 is where I would say he deserves to get paid.
I want to remind people that Shakur was supposed to get paid $1 million to fight Miguel Mariaga.
Yeah, I mean, 700,000 is that's in the wheelhouse there. That's reasonable.
Now I know Shakur is a silver medalist. He has a belt. Ryan does not have either one of those. But Ryan Garcia is a significantly bigger draw than Shakur Stevenson, and even guys like you said, Devin Haney.
But let me ask you a question. So I take Ryan Garcia and I put him in the Honda Center or the Staples Center.
Hold on, quickly. Hold on. I want Ronija in the chat. There is no pre-COVID, post-COVID difference in the budget. So we don't need to be talking about what is realistic or not in terms of paying these fighters. Golden Boy's not taking a pay cut in terms of their budget this year. That's not happening. Matchroom isn't. Top Rank isn't. That is not happening. So the idea that all these promoters do not have the money now in the coffers to pay these guys is not reality. It's not true. Sorry. So these promoters can make big fights. It's all about logistics more than anything. It's not about the money. It's about logistics at this point. And guess what? You could make, I think, a Ryan Garcia, Luke Campbell fight right now in terms of like travel restrictions pretty easily.
My question was, though, if you put Shakur Stevenson against, give me a Mariaga, in the Prudential Center or Madison Square Garden, and then on the other side of the country, you put Ryan Garcia in against Hipster, where Ryan Garcia and Shakur Stevenson are selling all the tickets, right? A nondescript B-side. Who do you think sells more, Ryan in a Honda Center or the Staples Center? Or do you think Shakur Stevenson sells more tickets in the Garden or the Prudential Center?
Ryan.
Right, I do too. You know what I'm saying? Like Ryan, I agree with that. Like Ryan deserves to be paid more. He's underpaid.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a reality here. And we talk about this a lot. In this age when we're in such an inflated market, even during a COVID pandemic, we're still in an inflated market in terms of fighters getting payment. That's just a reality. And if you have a contract and you get a certain maximum minimum and you are told one thing, you're told that you're going to fight a high-level opponent, but you're going to get paid a minimum still, you're not going to accept that. That's how it works. And I think anyone out there that's independent contractor would be thinking the same exact thing.
If you think Tanahara would be on the low end of that, right? You think he'd get $250 to fight Tanahara?
Yes, that's what's been reported. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was like only half joking when I said I was joking when he said he was.
We know that Ryan Garcia got offers to fight Tanahara, Gesta, and Fortuna. All of them are for the minimum purses.
Fortuna's a 2-division world champ, isn't he?
Is he a 2-division champ?
Maybe not.
I don't think he's a 2-division champ.
No.
Is he even a divisional champ?
Fortuna's never held. I feel like Fortuna's held belt. Now I gotta look it up.
I don't think he's held a belt.
Fortuna's never held a belt.
I could be wrong. It happens.
I feel like he lost the belt on a scale, he misses weight a lot. That we know.
Yeah, it's true. You can look it up.
But anyway, like Fortuna seems like a tough opponent. Like, I guess he's not a draw really. But I don't know. If I'm fighting Fortuna, I ain't doing it for the minimum. That's a tough. Fortuna's good. Like, Fortuna's good. I don't even know if I'd pick Ryan to beat him.
Real Niger Chick saying, you can't tell me that their profit forecast is exactly what it was before COVID hits. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Super featherweight.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, 135 belt. I didn't know if he had a 35-pound belt too.
Which belt?
WBA.
Against who?
Oh wow! I just
was that the Omar Douglas fight?
Ooh,
And was that the legit WBA?
probably not. I don't think so.
Yeah, we got because they don't put regular on BoxRec. They just call it world champ. It's just bullshit.
He won it. He won the vacant belt in 2015, and then he lost it to it was the regular because he lost it to Jason Sosa.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the regular.
Mm-hmm.
Omar Douglas was not, and then he lost to Easter. Yeah, okay, he lost to Easter. That was the 135 pound.
That's okay, Gary. You're wrong. You went from he's a 0 divisional champion. Let's be honest, to 2 division.
We can argue whether or not. I mean, it was the regular. It doesn't say, right? It says
it would say Super WBA. It would say Super WBA.
It was the regular because he lost it to Sosa. Was Sosa ever a world champion? I mean, that depends on who you ask, right?
No, he wasn't.
He had the regular belt. He won it.
Look.
I don't want to have this debate.
No. Great. Let's not do the. Oh, there's some people out there, right? Like those people are flat earthers. Okay. Right. I have actually probably more respect for flat earthers than the people that actually like give value to the WBA or IBO belts. Right. I'm not going to get into the WBC franchise shit.
How did Fortuna lose to Jason Sosa though? Like, how did that happen?
I can see that happening. Fortuna's one of those guys where like he's rough, but he's not particularly skilled. Sosa's a basic guy. He has decent skill, and I mean decent in a derogatory sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't mean that like in a good sense. Like Mike Garcia is a basic fighter. Like no. Yeah, Jason Sosa is not the greatest. But anyways, digressing, guys. Let's move on. Let's talk about that Luke Campbell fight a little bit more, though. Obviously, they're in negotiations right now because per Jake Donovan, and I think my commenters come out after the fact as well, saying that Ryan Garcia is moving away from the WBO and the Manuel to go talks and focusing on the interim WC fight with Luke Campbell. At this point, because I really didn't believe that this fight was going to happen at all, and I thought this was kind of like a joke to a degree. This might happen. And I think it would be largely due to Ryan Garcia's immediate team and them talking to Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, and with DAZN. If this fight does not happen, I think it would be largely due to the friction between Ryan and Oscar and Eric Gomez, and if Oscar and Eric Gomez are intimately involved in negotiations of this fight.
I tell you what, if that fight does happen, you're going to have a very unhappy Ryan Garcia. He wants a name. Emmanuel Tagoe is a good fighter. He ain't a name, right? Like the average boxing fan doesn't probably even know who. Like you think if you called up name redacted and asked him who Emmanuel Tagoe is, do you think he knows?
Well, that negotiation isn't happening anymore.
Oh, that one's done. Okay, so now
it's just Luke Campbell.
It's just Luke Campbell.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay, I
you misheard me
in my brain. Yeah,
it happened.
Okay, good. Because I think Tagoe is a good fight, but Ryan Garcia doesn't want that fight. It's a tough fight for not a lot of money and a fight that nobody cares about. And I think Ryan wins that fight, but it ain't easy. The Luke Campbell fight's a fun fight. I'm into that fight. I think Luke Campbell wins, but I can see a path to victory for Ryan Garcia. Ryan's quicker. He's the bigger hitter, right? He's more athletic. I can see Ryan Garcia winning that fight, but if I had to put my money on it, I would pick Luke Campbell to outbox him.
You know what? I'm going to be that asshole just because I know Rob's listening right now, and a lot of the UK is still up. I'm picking Ryan Garcia to knock out Luke Campbell within 6 rounds. You're
taking the young upstarts, like you're taking T.O. to beat Loma. Okay.
I just see it. I'm one of those big people that believes in momentum shifts in like sports. I always believe in like generational shifts as well. And even though we may not see it on paper, at least from a skill perspective, from an ability perspective, the younger just do eat the old in this sport. Like that's just kind of what happens. And Luke Campbell is not necessarily old, but he's 32, 33 years old already. Like, he's already in his early 30s. He had a long amateur career. And I don't think he's really panned out in the pros that people expected him to. He's obviously a really talented fighter in terms of just pure technical ability. Like if you're training a little kid to box, you would show him some Luke Campbell tape, honestly, to a degree. Like this is how he throws his jab, how he moves. It's really talented stuff. But I don't get the wow factor ever with Luke Campbell. And Ryan Garcia's had that a few times now. And Ryan Garcia, I think, is now in a position to really explode from a talent perspective because of who he surrounded himself with. If he was still just training with his dad in his dad's garage, this would be a massive issue. I would definitely pick Luke Campbell, but he's been training with Canelo Alvarez and Eddie Reneso for a while. And I think even Eddie Reneso came out and said, we want Luke Campbell. We're taking that fight. So even Eddie thinks that they can beat Luke Campbell. I see Ryan just being this whole generation just taking over for the next 12 to 18 months. We're going to see this turnover right now. I think Tio's going to win. I think Haney's going to win big in a big fight whenever that happens. Though that's going to be harder because let's say Ryan Garcia beats Luke Campbell. Like, it's not that same generational shift because it's two young fighters. So it's a little bit different to a degree. I don't know who Haney could fight then if, let's say, Teofimo wins and Ryan Garcia wins. Who is that extra veteran that Haney can beat up on to sort of get over? I don't see that guy out there, unfortunately. If like Robert Easter was still in the division, or like Linares was like still like credible to a degree, maybe. But digressing, I think that Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, those guys are the future of the division, and they're taking over, period. And even though Ryan Garcia, I think, has disappointed us, especially early on in his hype, he has, I think, sort of shored up a lot of those deficiencies. And he is just on a huge momentum wave that Luke Campbell really isn't on. So I'm picking Ryan Garcia to knock him out. I see a lot of the guys in the chat and Real Nija upset. It's all right. It's all right.
He would have to knock him out, right? Because he can't win enough rounds to beat, unless he got a bunch of knockdowns. But he's not going to outbox Luke Campbell over 12 rounds, so he'd have to knock him out to win. And he could. I mean, but
in theory, no, he cannot outbox Luke Campbell to win a decision. In theory.
But if he got 2 or 3 knockdowns, then he wouldn't, yeah. Again, I could see a path to victory for Ryan Garcia. I just don't think, not yet. I think it's a good fight, but I think, and Garcia has moments in it, and he lands him, and he may even hurt Campbell at times, but I think Campbell, wins 7-8 rounds and takes the decision.
Possible. I mean, he's probably going to be the favorite, speaking of Campbell. I would assume Campbell's the favorite. But no, I think Ryan Garcia is going to take over. And again, I'm not as hyped on Luke Campbell as, let's say, like Rob is, right? Like Rob thinks Luke Campbell can like beat all of these guys and he could beat Lomachenko in a rematch. And like, I've never seen that in Luke Campbell, to be honest. Great. I mean, he's a great perennial top 5 guy, but he's kind of the Sean Porter or Danny Garcia of the group to a degree.
He's the Yordanis Ugas of the group. And I don't mean that.
No, he's not. He's not.
You are underestimating Ugas.
No. Ugas would be like a number 8 guy in the division. Like Luke Campbell's higher than that.
Ugas is higher than 8.
7.
Keep going.
He's not. You want to go through the top right now?
Pacquiao, Crawford, Spence, Porter.
Yeah, you're going to wait.
Thurman.
Pacquiao, Spence, Crawford, Porter, Thurman, Garcia.
Ugas is better than Garcia.
He's not. It's okay.
We'll say 6 or 7. We'll say 6.
There's nothing on his resume or in the ring that would point that he's better than Danny Garcia.
Mike Dallas.
Was that the last, what was the last U.S. boxing card that had people in it?
I think it might have been that one. That one was, there's got to be one after that because that was in February. There had to be other. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder was after that. Mikey Garcia was right before the pandemic. Mikey Garcia versus Jesse Vargas.
I bet Santiago's going to say in the chat because he's the human box wreck. Potential Lunatic is saying that Paco, the president of the WBA, is on Twitter saying something about this situation. So I'm trying to look it up really fast. God, what the fuck is his last name again? Val. There we go. What is it? After Ryan Garcia's decision on pursuing the Campbell bout, WBO is considering ordering later this year 2 lightweight elimination bouts. to determine a mandatory challenger at 135. Oh, this isn't really news. Don't, lunatic, what are you doing? Don't ever give me this shit again. Announcing news that we're going to announce news later is never actually news. This should be like, hey, we're going to have a press conference on Monday to announce some stuff, guys. Like, that's awesome. But, like, we don't give a fuck. Just tell us at the press conference. That's kind of it. I love you, lunatic. Don't worry.
Name Redacted would do a 4-hour show on. We're going to have a press conference to talk about stuff. You know it would.
You've sent a few shots at Name Redacted. I'll be honest.
I didn't mean it in disrespectful. They would do a morning show for 4 hours of what it could be about.
I've heard through the grapevine that they're still talking a lot of shit about me. I think that's mainly because of you, Gary, because you routinely bring up Name Redacted in a derogatory manner. I'm not saying you should stop. I'm just saying I notice it, and it's funny.
I didn't mean it in any type of way. I'm just saying, like, they whatever. Do you think he knows who Emmanuel To Go is?
No.
That was...
No.
He has a big boxing podcast that thousands of people listen to it, and he doesn't know who To Go is. That was my point about To Go.
Maybe Mario knows.
Is he still on the show?
I think so.
He's from Texas.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. No one's ever confirmed this.
I've never seen the guy. Oh my God, so good.
He wasn't at the Spence Garcia fight when everyone else was there.
No, man. Not one of these days. You know me. I don't like doing the whole tell-all because I feel like it's a little bit petty, and they get so animated whenever anyone talks shit about them. But yeah, that guy, hilarious. I have some stories. Moving on. Katie Taylor, Defon Persoon is announced and official. It's happening August 22nd, obviously at the Eddie Hearn Plantation. Fight camp. Whatever it's called. Gary, your thoughts on potentially the fight to upset the Katie Taylor, I want to say hype train, because that implies that she's like overhyped. But just the Katie Taylor movement, so to speak. Like, she's been on a wave. She has a Netflix documentary out in the UK I know about. I know we don't have it in the US. But she's been main eventing. She's been sort of the face of UK and sort of European women's boxing. And the number 1 or number 2, depending who you ask, women's star in the sport for a couple of years now. And this is her toughest fight now being sort of brought back, and I'm hyped. I'll be honest, Gary. I am. If this was pay-per-view, I don't know if it is pay-per-view. I don't think it is in the UK, but this is pay-per-view. I would buy it just for this fight. Oh, it's on the Dylan White Povetkin card. So yeah, I would pay for this. Absolutely.
It's Katie Taylor better win. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot riding on Katie. I thought Persoon won the first fight. You know that. I think Katie Taylor's a better boxer. I think that she's way more skilled. I think she'll figure out a way to win this fight. I think it'll be a great, but I think Katie Taylor fight a more disciplined fight, not exchange as much.
Gary.
And she'll win more rounds, and she'll figure out a way to win this fight.
Gary. Yeah, you're cutting out there.
Did you lose me again?
Yo, man, you went a little bit like satanic there. It was scary. A little bit death metal. Oh, man. I'll say this. I think most people thought Delphine Persoon won the fight. I'm curious as to if most people think Katie Taylor's going to make the adjustments, or if most people think that Persoon's going to actually get the nod this time. I wonder how people are going to lean. Are they going to lean towards it was more of a fluke and Katie Taylor looked off that night and she should make the adjustments? Or people are going to lean, no, Delphine Persoon was the better fighter that night. She's going to come in and be more aggressive and beat up Katie Taylor again and get the nod from the judges. Gary, I know you're back. Let me bring you back. There you go. What's up?
I think Katie Taylor makes the adjustments, like I said. I think it's a great fight. I think that this is a 50-50 fight, right? But someone's got to win a 50-50 fight. I think Taylor's the better boxer, so I lean towards her. Just like I would lean towards Mayweather or the pure boxer, or Pernell Whitaker in any 50-50 type of fight. I will lean towards the box that can do enough and can adjust enough to win the rounds, right? Unless you think there's going to be a knockout, and I don't see Katie Taylor getting stopped, right? So
I don't know. She got beat up that first fight.
She did. I'm gonna take. I'll take Taylor like on a split decision.
You think it's gonna be tough? You think it's gonna be tough again?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be tough, but I think like most of us agree that Persoon deserved the nod in the first fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be really close, but it's just gonna be like, yeah, Taylor did enough to earn a nod, but it's really close. They're two pretty even fighters. They just have different styles.
I think Persoon's going to come in here and play upset and actually get the nod or get a late TKO. I think that is possible. And we're going to see the Brackus Taylor fight get derailed. We're going to see the Taylor Amanda Serrano fight get derailed. This is boxing, and I just see that happening.
Persoon's going to go in there like Paul Williams did against who did Paul Williams lose to early in his Rungvisai.
Not Paul. Not Paul.
He didn't deserve. He went in there and iced Chocolatito in the second fight.
Gary.
Persoon's going to go out there like that.
Gary, I'm pretty sure you're not connected via Ethernet or something. You got to check it out. I don't know what it is. It's really bad.
Is it bad? It's
really bad.
Connected towards Ethernet.
Yeah, I would maybe just quickly restart your computer if you can do that in like 5 minutes. I can.
Yeah, I can do that in 5 minutes. Let me restart my computer.
I can ram out this fight. It's okay. I think Katie Taylor, the thing that she struggled with was creating enough distance and separation to get her combinations going. And on top of that, she was never able to really get out of danger when she was done throwing. You know, she would come in, bop, 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 and then she would be stuck right there in front of Devon Persoon, and she would get lit up. And then eventually, by I think it was like round 3 or 4, Persoon was just pressuring her because Taylor's in and out pressure and movement, her usual game, kind of hurt her to a degree. She got beat up in the process. And I wonder if Taylor dials it back, gets really jab heavy, maybe throws like 20 to 30 punches around. Something that's not, there we go. Right, Gary. Something that's not high output, but in order to keep control and containment in terms of the tempo of the fight, the aggression of the fight. I am curious to see again how Taylor makes those adjustments, what those adjustments are, and if they can last for 6-7 rounds where she can win a decision. Gary's back. Somebody saying that she gassed. I don't think it was just simply she gassed. I think her style didn't work. Similar. Maybe it's a bad comparison, Gary. I was talking about Kay Taylor's in and out movement, and Delphine Persoon was able to just continually time her in the first few rounds, and that really frustrated Taylor. Taylor wasn't able to sort of duck under shots, change levels, sort of get out the side door, keep turning Delphine Persoon. She was always stuck in front of her and on the center line. It reminds me a little bit of like a Marquez Pacquiao situation where Pacquiao's in and out pressure, his burst of energy and movement and aggression was just stymied by Marquez's ability. And on top of that, when it got to a certain point, Marquez was able to sort of pressure Pacquiao and turn the tables on him in numerous of their fights, obviously, and then eventually knocked him out. Thoughts on that? Thoughts on the technical X's and O's of these two?
The Pacquiao Marquez kind of comparison was what I was actually thinking when you were breaking that down. So I agree with that a lot. And Persoon is more than like just a brawler and a mauler and a kung fu fight. Like there's a lot of technical things she does really well. There's a lot of fine-tuned things she does, like you said, her timing, and there's a lot to Persoon. But Katie Taylor's skills are as good as, well, the second best in women's boxing. I think she can figure this out. But like, if Persoon wins, which is totally possible, it's not because she mauled her to death, right? It's because it's like Duran. Yeah, he likes to come forward, but it's not just bowling. There's a lot of high science and high speed chess in what they're doing.
She's one of the best pressure fighters in women's boxing. Like,
right.
It's just a fact. And pressure fighters, by default, have to be technical still. It may be a very different technical set than a outside fighter, a counter boxer. Very different skill sets, but to be a pressure fighter does require skill. Okay, especially a good one, right? If we're playing a good pressure fighter, right? You can be a bad pressure fighter and not have skill, right? Like you can be a bad outside fighter and not have skill, right? Like, for example, Adrian Broner is not a great outside fighter, not a great boxer at all. He lacks skill in that department. Okay. Delphine Persoon absolutely does not lack skill in her pressure. Sean Porter, in terms of pressure fighters, absolutely has skill when it comes to his pressure. Artur Beterbiev absolutely has skill when it comes to his pressure. I know these are very, extreme comparisons, maybe to a lot of boxing listeners, but that is, I think, sort of the comparison we have to make when it comes to women's boxing and MMA. I mean, MMA too. Sorry, Freudian slip there because of the big MMA fight coming up tomorrow. To men's boxing, because Delphine Persoon is one of the best pressure fighters in women's boxing. So you have to compare it to some of the best pressure fighters in men's boxing, which would be Sean Porter, Artur Beterbiev. Who else would you say would be a good pressure fighter? Miguel Burchell, to a degree.
Yeah.
Josh Warrington, who I think is absolutely a very skilled fighter.
Jaime Munguia.
I will slap across the screen. Hulu's Cesar Martinez.
Yeah.
These are all fighters that are absolutely extremely talented pressure fighters, but they have varying degrees of skill as well. And you can probably see that if you're imagining their fights in your head right now, that they all look a little bit different in terms of how they apply pressure, how efficiently they apply pressure, but they are pressure fighters.
Right. Like, okay, Margarito is like one of the famous ones, right? Yeah. Now, that's a good pressure fighter. Now, Munguia is a bad version of that, right? Like, Margarito was kind of the Cadillac, and Munguia is like the Ford Pinto, right? It's like,
damn, the hate on the Pinto, bro.
Am I hating too much on the Pinto? Is that the Volkswagen Bug? Right?
There we go. That's better. There we go.
The Pintos blew up. Never mind.
Walker Smith Jr. saying, how do you expose having a close fight with the number 3 pound for pound boxer? I don't know who you're talking about. Did I miss something here? I don't think any of us said that Kay Taylor's exposed. Oh, you're saying I see, right? Saying I see idiots going around saying Kay Taylor got exposed. I don't think she got exposed per se. I will say this. The idea that she was the dominant pound for pound number 1 female boxer, I think got that argument, that narrative got diminished from that fight. Okay.
Yeah, they were going to move her all the way up to 154, and she was going to fight Shields. It's like, just stop. Like.
I don't think people were going to do that per se, Gary. But I think that people were having that argument of who is the best, right? Who is it? Shields? Is it Taylor? And in the respective biggest fights, right? I would say definitely Persoon was Kay Taylor's best fight. And in Claressa Shields' biggest and best fight, Christina Hammer, they performed very differently. The juxtaposition between how they performed, how adequately they performed, how much they dominated is just glaring. And not that Shields hasn't had off nights, and not that Kay Taylor hasn't had off nights as well in other fights. And not that that's not okay. But I think when we look at them side by side, when Shields came to that moment of this is the fight. I have to be the best here. She was the best. When Kay Taylor came to America in her second fight, the biggest fight on the AJ undercard, this huge undercard, right? She actually wasn't the best. Not even in her own division. And so that is, I think, just a factual thing that we have to deal with and discuss. Do you want to say that's her being exposed? I don't want to say that.
Yeah, I don't think, was Pacquiao exposed by Marquez? No, Marquez was just great, right? Like, I mean, unless you can have the skill of Marquez, you're not going to be able to do what Marquez did, right?
And let's be honest, if Katie Taylor comes in here and she makes all these adjustments, comes in here, has a almost shutout, wins 8 rounds, right? Like, kind of dominates the fight. Then the narrative of her being the best again in women's boxing absolutely comes back into the fold. 1,000%. As she should. So I understand that there are always going to be those idiots online or in comment sections, Walker, out there in our chat, that are saying that she's exposed, she's a bum. I get that. Ignore them. But you have to realize that there is a substantive discussion here about how talented, how skilled is Katie Taylor in terms of a pound for pound all-time great status. And those are the discussions we're having. Not that she's a bum, but how great is she? The degrees of greatness, the spectrum of greatness. I know he's not saying that we're saying that. He's saying that people are.
Yeah. No serious person. Like we were talking about the LBC, like LBDC, talking about Tyson Fury's glove. Like no serious person thinks Katie Taylor's a bum. Okay, like you might think other people are better than her, right? But like it's like Russell Westbrook. Like there's a array of people who think Russell Westbrook's a top 5 player or maybe he's a top 20, but no one thinks he's a bum, right? Like nobody thinks Katie Taylor's a bum.
Yes, he's by the way, the best point guard of all time. Just can't say that.
Why? Because he went to UCLA? Are you a UCLA fan?
No, I'm not actually. I'm a US.
Well, okay.
I am somewhat related to Carson Palmer. So
okay.
Growing up, I went to all the USC games and stuff. So
second cousin, twice removed, kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess. Like
okay.
I would see him at family events and stuff. Not so much anymore, obviously. Went to the Bengals, not so much.
I'm guessing he's from that area. He's from Southern California.
Yes. I forget where exactly he is. Like they're from because they got married into our family.
Okay,
I'll say that.
So Jordan Palmer isn't really in your family.
No, he is.
Okay.
Well, he's Carson's brother.
Yeah. So I mean. Okay, through his marriage, right? Like
through marriage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would see like their parents more than I would see them actually. Like I know Carson and Jordan's parents more than I know Carson and Jordan. Okay. I think Carson and Jordan's parents at every family event.
I'm not related to anybody famous.
It's not cool, man. It really, Jordan's cool. Carson's not. I'll be honest. I shouldn't say that. It's just the truth. Digressing. Any other thoughts on Taylor Persoon 2? Do you want to throw out a UK pay-per-view buy rate with White, Povetkin, and Taylor Persoon as a doubleheader? That's a good card.
I'm bad at UK pay-per-views. 650, is that a good number?
It's a little high.
Is it a little high?
Yeah.
I'm
gonna guess 450.
But both those fights on it?
Yeah, because I think White does usually around 200 to like 350. Ooh. And that's not bad. Again, the UK 200 is not as bad. You have to remember that.
Yeah.
And I think Katie Taylor, has she headlined a pay-per-view? I know Nigel will be in the chat saying, "Oh yeah, she's." But I don't remember if she's headlined pay-per-view. I'll be honest.
I'll go even 500,000. It doesn't 500,000.
I can say that. I can see that. I should say. Let's talk about the fights though that happened this week, because there were some boxing fights that happened allegedly. You want to talk about your boy Kendo Castaneda putting on a actually like really gutsy performance that I was actually kind of, I'm not gonna say blown away by, but I will say this: from Zepeda to go from kind of dominating Pedraza, and Pedraza's a good fighter in my opinion, to kind of looking poor against Kendo Castaneda, I was kind of shocked.
And remember, Kendo took that fight on 1 week's notice.
I was shocked. I know. I mean, I was legitimately shocked by Zepeda. I know this was not shared by, I think, the majority of boxing people. I think a lot of people thought Zepeda was dominating this fight still. I did not see him dominating this fight. It looked like he was struggling here, especially in the later rounds. I felt like he was struggling with Castaneda's forward pressure that was just non-fucking stop. I only wish he threw more. Like, that's what hurt him.
And the pressure started a little bit too late. If he would have brought that kind of pressure from round one, maybe he could have broke him down in one more rounds, 6 and 7,
I don't think that's the case.
don't think so?
I think he wasn't throwing combinations enough. He was throwing single shots. Like he was throwing a lot of single shots. Whenever he would get really close and he would wait to throw. Like let's say like me and you are in jab range. I'm pressuring you, right? I'm already within jab range. I should be throwing shots at you. I should be throwing combinations, setting up shots. He's not. And then by the time if you're Zepeda, by the time you're trying to circle and angle out, that's when he started to throw. He did a lot of that where he was in the right position in terms of distance from his opponent, in terms of real estate and all that, but he wasn't throwing enough. I think that's largely due to him wanting to conserve his cardio because of him coming on a week's notice, and not having a full training camp, obviously. That's why we didn't see a lot of combinations from him. That hurt him because he was in every position to win this fight in terms of real estate. He controlled the real estate the entire fight. He just wasn't throwing combinations.
He was in camp. He was supposed to fight Hammerhands, Julian Rodriguez, who I think he would have. Yeah, I think he would have beat him. So it's like that's.
Like that fight.
I don't think Hammerhands is that good. Like I really don't. So he was like he's basically. I think his fight got bumped up 2 weeks when Baranchek fell out, and then he took it on 1 week's notice. But he was already, preparing for a different fight. You can see a lot of world-class fighters are going to start to fold and start to melt under that Texas heat, right? Like, Kendo was bringing it. Kendo was, again, the judges got it right. Obviously,
Zepeda
won the fight. I had it, 7-3, and I think that's what the judges had it. But Kendo was bringing it. Like he was in that fight, especially the second half of the fight. He was very much alive and very competitive in that fight. And I think, look, he lost. It's okay. He's never fought anyone at that level before, not even close. So this was a good learning experience. We bring him back, and we slowly put him in with a top 20 guy and then a top 15 guy. He's only 25 or 26, so he's got time. And I think you have a top 10 fighter in there 2 years from now.
Maybe top 15. I can see a top 15.
Who would win the battle of San Antonio 140 pounders, him or Barrios?
I pick Barrios.
Okay.
Barrios throws a jab more.
He does.
I will say this. I do not like Barrios for a lot of things in terms of like technical ability, but he throws a jab religiously. And I will always give him props for that. Like, and a guy like Kendo who's going to come forward and not really be throwing his jab, like he's going to give up that battle automatically because he just wants to pressure you with his movement, not with his shots and combinations. I can see Barrios just sticking with the jab and moving and sticking with the jab and moving and winning a decision. Absolutely. Kind of like Zepeda to a degree. Like I can see a very similar fight, to be honest. Now, Batur Akhmedov, he beats up Kendo Castaneda. He's going to dominate. He broke your boy's jaw. Your boy didn't want any of that smoke afterwards. Batur's the real deal.
I told you before that fight happens, it was going to be a tough fight. I said, just win. And I didn't know it was going to be that tough, but I said, just win this fight and get to the next one. Because I thought that Batur Akhmedov fight, I saw that. This is not an easy fight. Like,
when are we going to call him Batman? Like, that's like, I feel like that's the natural progression to like right. Call him. Just call him Batman.
I think we could start that now.
I mean, he's Batman.
Batman.
Yo, what is he doing actually? I really wanted to see him fight after that, and been fucking nowhere. 92 Aku saying Zepeda, Jose Ramirez was close. You're right. I mean, Zepeda is good. Like Zepeda is one of those guys. Like he's a perennial top 10 guy.
That was a really good fight, and ESPN kept saying that Zepeda won that fight, and most people think Zepeda. No, they don't. Like it was a good fight. The only judge that got that wrong was the one who scored it for Zepeda. Oh, they scored it even, right? They scored one judge had it even.
I didn't know that people even thought Zepeda won that fight. I didn't think that was a thing. I thought people thought it was a close fight that was competitive, but I didn't think people thought that Zepeda won that. Really? God. Oh, did Gary freeze up again? God damn, Gary. You gotta call your provider, man. You have to yell at them again.
I'm gonna have to. But ESPN kept saying that, there are plenty of people, most pundits and experts thought Zepeda won. It's like, no, they didn't. It was a good fight. It was a competitive fight. But Ramirez won the fight. He won the fight clearly. The only judge who got it wrong was the one who's was it a split or majority decision?
I don't remember. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter per se. But I would say this. Tim Bradley was eating a sandwich on live national television yesterday. So clearly, they don't give a fuck in terms of like that broadcasting. Like maybe Ward kinda, but only when like one of his fighters that he manages is on does he really care.
Which is a conflict of interest.
Which
right?
really bugs me, man. It really does. The more I think about it, the more it bugs me. Anyways, let's stay on this card though. Andy Vence is lost as well in a split decision to Luis Alberto Lopez. And I mean, I like Lopez. I've liked him for a while now. I think he's one of those. He's a spoiler. Like he's a perfect guy to fight prospects, in my opinion. Kind of a perennial top 20-ish guy, in my opinion.
He's big and strong, and he's he's awkward. Like he kind of reminds me of like a poor man's Carl Froch, where it's like, okay, this guy's not really a good boxer. He kind of is, right? And then he's like really strong. I'm not saying he's as good as Froch. He's not, but I'm saying it's that kind of thing where he looks like he's not really a good boxer, but he actually is. Like I'm not saying Lopez is going to be a world champ or anything like that, but he's a good fighter, man. Like he's trouble. He just looks like he's fundamentally flawed and you can beat him. But like his boxing skills are really underrated because he's awkward.
So some people are saying that, yeah, some people did feel Cepeda won. Again, I blame.
I have not heard that until 3 days ago. Like, all right.
I blame.
Are these the same people who scored Garcia over Keith Thurman? I mean, who are these people?
I blame the water. The water is obviously very bad in all of the southwestern United States, so that's what I'm going to put it on. We're all like mass hallucinating like that. Like this whole year didn't happen on the low. It's all an illusion. Moving on, Andy Vence's loss, and he got like really beat up. And I remember it was so funny. Somebody asked me, one of my MMA friends was like, "Hey Matt, talking about this card, right?" And I was like, Cepeda's, good top 10 guy. Castaneda's a prospect, air quotes. But they're fun fighters. Should be a fun main event. Andy Vence is a top, 15 prospect. So, I mean, top 15 guy. He's a prospect. He's a decent prospect. And then he just came in here and looked like this dog shit again. He's not going to pan out.
He's already didn't. He lost to who did he lose to before this? He lost to another.
I'll check it up right now.
It's somebody good, but I mean, like he's just not that good. His skills are fine. He's not going to make it out. He's not going to be a world champ. He's not going to be Albert Bell, who's good. Albert Bell's good, right?
Yeah.
And now he lost to Luis Alberto Lopez, who's good, who beat Ray Jimenez, who almost, he beat Jimenez in a real close decision, and he lost to Villa in a real close decision, and then he beat Vance in a real close decision. Like he's gonna fight you tough, but he's just not at a world champ. Vance is not at a world championship level. He could be a top 20 guy, and he can carry on as such, but like that.
Gary froze up again. Double I in the chat saying, I thought Vence's won, to be honest. Not mad at the decision, though. He didn't look good, is what Double I is saying now as well. Yeah, you maybe, because the fight, I think there wasn't a ton of clean action, but I think all the clean action was, to be from my perspective, from Lopez's side. I thought he was battering up Vences whenever the clean shots were landed. But it was an awkward fight. It was. And that's largely due to Lopez's style. His weird Philly shell, which is just odd.
Right? You don't expect him to be fighting out of that, right? Like it's
it's like I don't want to call it a poor man's Broner.
Because Lopez could beat Broner.
I don't know. I want to no.
But the thing is,
let's not go that far. Like it's Andy Vences, right? It's Andy Vences. Like it's still just Andy Vences. It's not something that's like a top 10, 5 guy that Lopez did this to. It's a prospect that never panned out, that never really looked to be the goods. I mean, I'll be honest, Gary. I think you think this in terms of like our perception of Tanahara, that we are very negative about him. That what everyone thinks about Andy Vences, you assume that me and Rob think that about Tanahara. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What I'm saying here?
Yeah.
I know that was confusing. I said that confusing. I apologize. But everyone thinks Andy Vences is a prospect that was always not going to pan out. And I think we're just now seeing that. And some prospects we're having that question mark to, having that discussion with. Some prospects we can, I think, kind of definitively say they're not going to be the next big thing or be a champion. I think Andy Vinces is one of those. He's obviously the latter. Let's talk obviously about the card last night. And by say we, I mean you, because I didn't watch it. So, Gary, thoughts on Carlos Takam, Jerry Forrest?
Forrest tried to rally a little bit there, like the 8th and 9th round. Takam is a tough opponent. Like, he's got some boxing skills. He's 250 pounds, so he's a good B level. I don't know what level Matt's going to say, but I call him a B level fighter, a top 15 guy in the heavyweight division.
Carlos Takam?
Yeah, like he's a decent big man.
B minus.
B minus. Okay, that's fine. He's a decent big man, and he was 10 times better than Forrest. I don't know why they were telling us Forrest was good. They were trying to get Forrest versus Rivas, and then the winner of that was going to, like, that guy Forrest is not good. Because Takam is what he is, which is like a top 15 guy, right?
Yeah.
He's big. He's got a little bit of skill. He throws a nice jab. But, like, he's not going to really beat any of the top heavyweights. Like, he would get steamrolled by a guy like Luis Ortiz, right? Like, he's not there. And he was clearly better. A level, I say a level better than Forrest. So, and that was the highlight of that card. And the other, and in the co-main, Carlos Castro, his kid, I think they said he was from Arizona, lightweight.
Not Texas, doesn't fucking matter.
He was good. He had good skills, good speed, good combinations, but I don't think there was any like killer next level stuff about him.
Do you think they should just stop doing these bad cards?
See, that was supposed to have Miller on it. And if it had Miller on it, people would have watched it just because of the freak show. It's like Broder. It's like, I just want to watch them. Yeah, maybe they should stop the bad cards. Because, I mean, I've been an apologist for these cards saying, look, I know they're not good, but we've gotten some decent acts. Like, if you just put your mind to that you're watching a showbox card. Just, I'm watching a showbox card on ESPN. Okay, it is what it is. It's low-level boxing. Last night was boxing that shouldn't be on television. I like club fights, so I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that's not ESPN-worthy boxing.
Or at least just consolidate the cards. Like, why have two bad cards in the middle of the week?
They're not doing killer ratings, right? So it's not like that. It's not like he's no, we need more of this. This is killing it. Right? They're getting 300,000 and change consistently. Like, that's their baseline, and it's their ceiling. Like, that's what they got.
Yeah, that's the boxing baseline, too, is that 300,000 mark, I feel like, most of the time. Gary, that's about it for the show, man. We know we have Kell Brook out there talking about Keith Thurman on social media. I don't want to discuss that because that's not happening.
Let's get Kell a fight. Let's get Kell Brook a fight.
Let's get him help. And by help, I mean, like, yo, do something else than boxing, please. I want to see Kell Brook, yeah. What does Kell Brook do, honestly, at 147 right now, other than lose to all the top guys?
He beats Danny Garcia.
No, he doesn't. Mikey could beat him right now.
Oh, stop. Stop. Mikey just lost to Jesse Vargas.
Yeah, Jesse could beat fucking Kell Brook right now.
Let's do that fight. There's a fight. Jesse versus... and we could do it at some weird catchweight because neither of them...
Weren't there talks about that? I mean, obviously there was talks about that before the Triple G fight.
Yeah.
But I believe there was talks about that again a year or two ago, but I could be wrong. Digressing, though. Kell Brook is somebody that I just really do not care to see in a high-level fight. Like, he has yet to really, like, for me, in my opinion, had a performance that has made me go, oh, yeah, he's ready to go back to those top guys.
You don't think he's any good, but he's the only guy that's ever clearly beaten Sean Porter.
He didn't clearly beat Sean Porter.
You don't think so? I thought he won. I thought it was pretty clear. Like, going to the scorecards, I knew who won that fight.
I'll put it this way. That, to me, was like Fury Klitschko. Whereas, like, I don't care who won that fight.
That's fair, but I had Fury 120 to 108. I had no rounds for Klitschko.
I don't think it was that bad for me. I think I gave Klitschko some rounds. I think I gave Porter some rounds too in that fight.
No, Porter definitely won some rounds against Kell Brook, but it was not. It was
like that fight where I'm like, I don't care who won this. It was
It
good.
was not good. I had a lot of high expectations for that fight. Like I thought it was going to be really good. It was not. But I thought Brooke clearly won. It was a good fight. I mean, no, it wasn't. It was close relatively, but I thought like it was clear who won. Just like Zepeda and Ramirez. Like Ramirez clearly won that. I thought it wasn't close at all, but we know who won.
Some people out there say that Zepeda won. So some people out there might be saying that Sean Porter won.
All right. The people say that
there are the Sean Porter truthers who think that he has won all of his fights that he's lost. Those people exist.
I can't get the
like,
other ones.
Just like there's the Canelo deniers that think that Canelo's lost every close fight that he's had. It's the same people, probably.
The Keith Thurman Sean Porter fight was really good. I was scoring at one of my good friends who's a big boxing fan. I kept my scorecard a secret. He kept his until the end. I had at 115, 113 Thurman. He had at 115, 113 Porter. It was that kind of fight.
Your friend was wrong. It's okay. It happens.
I had it just like the judges. All three judges had 115, 113 Thurman.
I'll be honest. That's one of those fights that I remember that night there was like a heated discussion about who had won. Like on social media and everything. And I just did not understand it. I thought Thurman clearly won. Like,
yeah.
I thought, not like clearly in terms of like he won 10 rounds, but like I thought he won 7 rounds without a doubt.
Okay. Yeah. Then like at the end of 12 rounds, you thought like we know.
Yeah.
If the judges get it right, we know who won this. Unless the judges blow this. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, honestly, when I was had the post fight be announced. But anyways, Gary, that's gonna be it for today's show. I'll be back on tomorrow night live after UFC 251, guys. So don't worry. After Kamaru Usman, Jorge Masvidal, after Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Peter Yan and Jose Aldo, all those 3 title fights, I am going to be live here on YouTube. I think I'm going to be joined by some people from MMA Media. I think Jason Burgos of Sherdog. I think Pat OJ from Body Like MMA and Sherdog will be joining me. I think Ant Walker, obviously from Body Like MMA, Sherdog, MMAonPoint, all those sites will be joining me. I think maybe some other people. Don't know who exactly will be joining me tomorrow. But again, major card tomorrow in combat sports. Cannot wait to cover it because it should be a fun card. If I'm Matt Hunter, MCR on all social media platforms, hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Gary.
I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm going to try to figure out why I kept freezing up like that. Taken care of next time. And I think this is going to be it. The cornrows, they're hard to maintain. Like no one tells you that. I think we're going to be done with these. I think I'm going to take them out.
Thank you.
They're hard, like because and then yeah. Now I know why girls only usually keep them for a few days because they're hard to maintain. And and then they look sloppy. But I think I'm done with these. Today's going to be it. From Texas. Oh, find me on all forms of social media. 3D Boxing blog. From Texas to the world. Thank you and God bless.
Peace.